Welcome to the Soft Skill Management and Questioning Technique for English Subject Teachers Seminar. I am Sofia Jarvia Anasuba, the moderator of today's seminar. This seminar is conducted by the English Department of SMK Luak and a collaboration with Unit Bimbingan and Counseling SMK Luak. It is also a part of the Equip Excel My English program. Ladies and gentlemen, to start our seminar, I would like to invite Mr. Nasirin bin Adnan, the principal of SMK Luak, to give his speech and then officiate the soft skill management and questioning technique for English subject teachers seminar.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera and a very good day, everyone. Today, we are very honored to have with us our distinguished guest, the Honorable Dr. Anthony He, the Chairman of IBS College, along with Dr. Lau Pun Lee, the Principal of IBS College, and Mr. Ricky Donald, the Program Counselor of IBS College. I would also like to welcome representative from our District Education Office, Valia Anak Negret, SIC Plus English, our guidance and counselor teacher, Encik Mukhali bin Uhi, and fellow English subject teachers from Miri Secondary Schools. I am Nasirin bin Adnan, the school principal of SMK Luak program. Ladies and gentlemen, our talk today under the program called Equip Excel My English is organized by SMK Luak English Department, led by Mr. Lau Ket Yuan as the head of English Department, with the help of our school counselor, Encik Mukhali bin Uhi. It is a program targeted towards English teachers in Miri District. I would also like to congratulate the organizers in making this collaboration a success. The objective of soft skills management and questioning technique for English subject teachers seminar is to strengthen and increase English teachers qualities, slots, talks, and networking. This is one of the few activities that we have planned for the betterment of English panels in all participating schools in 2021. It is hoped that through these activities, we can all work with more focus through objectives-based activities, thus improving our qualities. Besides providing assistance to the target groups, this talk is focusing more on productive approach for our teachers. This approach is targeting the teachers to also be more confident in their approaches. It is also this school policy to encourage the teachers to be self-reliant. I hope the outputs obtained during today's seminar would shed some light on the issues and challenges as well as opportunities related to the issues. Indeed, we look forward to hearing new ideas and suggestions from everyone attending this seminar. Before I conclude, once again, I would like to congratulate everyone for organizing this program. This collaborative effort, I must say, it is very commendable and should be continued in the future. Sabas to all participants, thank you for committing your time and energy towards this seminar. I wish all of you the best and fruitful seminar. With this, I hereby officiate the talk of soft skill management and questioning technique for English subject teachers seminar. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Nasirin bin Adnan, for the wonderful speech. Ladies and gentlemen, before we go any further, I would like to introduce our respectable speaker. The speaker today is Dr. Anthony He. He is current chairman of IBS College Miri. He graduated from the Oklahoma City University, the United States of America, with a bachelor and master in business administration. His doctorate of education, majoring in human resources development, is from the George Washington University. Dr. He has also completed the Professional Leadership Development Program with the Harvard Business School. He has been one of the founders and principal for many private colleges in Malaysia. He is an active educator, a professional civil engineer, and he has 25 years of education, training, and consulting experience. Now, allow me to welcome the speaker, Dr. Anthony He, to deliver his presentation.
Hello, hello. Testing, testing. Does it work? Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you, Sophia. Thank you, Sophia. If you can hear me well, we hope that today the system will be working well. And I would like to say hello to our new principal, SMK Luak. I remember I was at your school at 2015, 6 years ago, and it's already 6 years. So in training, Adnan, pegawai SISC, plus Bahasa English, Medan Vidya, and all the Penoroganang teachers in SMK Luak. And I see that there are a lot of others English teacher from the Miri area and also from the education department. So welcome, and I'm very pleased, very honored to have given this kind of time to talk in this special occasion. We are doing online, and then I remember I used to go to the school and we were doing it at the home. But now we have to do it online, and I really hope that it will be fine for the next 2 hours, and we will be able to hear each other. And I really think that we have been almost close to about 2 years already on this online learning, and I'm very sure that all of you get used to this online process. And I've been teaching that on my other classes as well. We're online, and then I hope that we will be able to do that. Thank you very much. And then once again, thank you for the school to invite me. And also, I hope that we can share the topics what are suggested on this soft skill and questioning technique. And I have prepared into 2 separate slides. And I'm going to show you the slide. And at the same time, after the talks, I think we can share the slide in terms of information that I have prepared. So let me put on the slide, then we will go into the information that we have discussed. So the first is about soft skill and questioning, which is the first slide I would like to share with you is on the soft skill. Yeah, soft skill. Can you see that? It is going to share now. I hope that it's coming out. Sophia, can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, good afternoon from SMB Lundun. All right, you got it, Sophia? So you are my assistant, so everything goes wrong, so I call you. So hopefully that everything is in order. Thank you for organizing that. So I would like to split the talk into 2 parts. Soft skill will be slightly longer, and we will have another 2/3 of the time will be on the soft skill, and then 1/3 of the time on questioning techniques. And I'm very sure that this is something where we all want to see how this thing can help. And my objective of helping to learn to teach is actually to help each other to understand more. Actually, in terms of soft skill, we are forever learning. Yeah, we are forever learning. So I hope that we can do something at the end of the session that for soft skill, we would like to learn something to do with the ways and means how we can apply, we can utilize. I hope that the one I share with you and then some of this practical experience and some questionnaires that I'm using, that you can use that in your own daily life. And also how to face everyday challenges with confidence. So this is the soft skill that we are looking about, mainly for working adults and mainly for this industry people we are working with. And also ability to deal with unpleasant situations, especially when you deal with difficult people. And sometimes as a teachers, you deal with internal, external, and as well as students. I'm very sure that our job is dealing with students all the time. And there are difficulty situations, and so how we can improve that. And the last one is ability to showcase one skill in a creative manner. So I'm going to give you some assignment. So there will be some assignment. So at the end of the session, that all of you could participate in the assignment and see how well you answer the questions that I have been talking. Yep. We can't see you personally. I think that we will have a prize at the end of the session. So you will receive surprise gift from I will make Totala to go and buy gift. Then we will have people who have participated well and do well. And if you have learned everything and you contribute to the group discussion, I'm very sure that there will be a surprise gift for you. And the second session we'll talk about questioning is actually extension from the soft skill, because when you talk about soft skill, communication and others in terms of conflict management, in terms of questioning. So we will talk about that learning process later on. So let's look at these two things that you are looking at. When we talk about soft skill, we are actually referring to hard skill as well. And when we talk about soft skill, we are referring to, we are looking at some of them I want to join the class. Huh? Okay, all right. So we are talking about hard skill and soft skill, where the hard skill that we are looking at it is mainly related to the proficiency in the foreign languages, and you are looking at the people who have getting a degree. So you'll be surprising to see that to get a degree, especially is a hard skill. That means you can actually challenge yourself. You do well, you can actually pass a degree. So in the sense that and also in terms of other area of hard skill, typing and speak, and the nursing, the doctors, and these are the things that you actually do it with yourself. However, you talk about soft skill, we are referring to skill that you work with others. So you can see that the hard skill is only dealing with yourself. If you manage yourself well, you are okay with the hard skill. But where the soft skill is that you require to have a lot more than just talking about managing yourself. You're managing others. So which occasion refer to other type of knowledge of leadership and flexibility and team management, time management and teamwork. So these are the area where we were learning forever. And this is how we look at it, how soft skill, how important, how difficult to. This is where I got some research. I go online, I go and download some, I look at a lot of articles, and I refer to one of the research conducted by USM not long ago, referring to the difficulty of teachers in terms of developing soft skill of teachers. And I also go to another strategic human resources management to find out in terms of industry, the industry people were thinking about how difficult to make sure that we get the good graduates who have good soft skill. And these are the issues that now we are still questioning ourselves, how to make sure that teachers' soft skill are being developed and the students will be able to have good soft, and employer will have less difficulty in terms of try to continue to train their own staff because they're lacking of soft skill. So here we are in terms of looking at some of this research conducted. And there is a problems issues related to the teachers, which is mentioned in the research. One of the things, school administrator always young teachers. And what they comment is that according to research shows that academically, most of the young teachers are very proficient. That means that our education system, our training of the teachers, they have no problem of managing the hard skill itself. However, they're lacking in soft skill. What are the areas such as ethic, moral, professional skill, communications, and others? And these are the area where most of the school administrators will find that the younger the teachers, the more they are coming in with the hard skill but lacking of soft skill. And the research also showed that the problem is related to our education system, where the education system is the problem is that when the lack of soft skill is because largely due to the what we are actually having the existing issues in terms of study. What is the system having problem? Number one is the early education in our system, where teachers, trainees are exposed to rote learning style. And I still remember that we are actually required to memorize a lot of things, and the examination is the reasons why we have to do well in our academic. And exam-oriented education system in the elementary and secondary has been going on for a long time. I think there are a lot of suggestions, there are a lot of proposals to modify some of them, and then this is something, I hope that this will be something where we can improve. And personal characteristics were formed, and teachers coming from Form 1, Primary 1 to Form 5, Form 6, at the end of the day, you become very much on the structured personality that where you very hard, not easy to undo, because you have been trained in that kind of situations. And also, the other area is the soft skill learning. According to the research, especially teachers who are doing bachelor in education or bachelor in school management, they will find that soft skill program is not embedded into the curriculum. It's more like independent modules, where teachers are taking it as standalone modules and they're only taught over 3 semesters. That is the research done by USM. It shows that a lot of teachers, trainees, are not actually paying much attention to those, we call it elective modules or subject, which is not actually related to teaching itself, very much of a self-development kind of thing. So it says that many teachers, young teachers, are not putting a lot of emphasis on that. And also the other area is the teacher perception. And a lot of teachers because they will be taking as a teacher, they have this kind of overrating themselves that they are already a good people. They already have enough soft skills, otherwise they won't be taken as a teachers. So the answer is that they have some kind of perception to think that they believe they are already well qualified, and also they do not lack any necessary skill. And even some teachers think that I'm a teacher, so I'm born as a teacher, I want to be a teacher, so that is my personal trait. So it's not possible to change me because I'm already a teacher. So that is the research shows that some of this kind of young teacher perception as well as education system, and that make to the difficulty of some school administrators say that we are finding young teachers are lacking of soft skill. But hard skill, they have no issue. What about the soft skill in industry? And this is very critical. And I'm in the college business. So you know that we have been meeting with the Ministry of Higher Education almost every. They are always talking about competency education, outcome-based education. We are to training people who are actually come out with the industry can be utilized without issue. But mainly, we get feedback from the industry. You can see that the research from Strategy HRM says 44% of employers criticize candidates lack the vital soft skill needed to be successful at the job. Almost half of the employer do not think that our university graduates or college graduates having enough good soft skill to manage. And also the job market now require more competitive skill, which is specialist on the soft skill. Now with the pandemic coming, even more important that how you can't even see people, you can't actually try to communicate with people, you are online. Even that is very hard for you to actually to develop the employee soft skill. So the company now have to invest They have to train themselves. Indirectly mean we as a college or university, we're supposed to train people ready for work. But a lot of companies are having spent a lot of budget to train the employee because they think that they are not really good enough for their job. And also the company think that to train hard skill, they have no issues. Soft skill is the issues. Like Miri, we have very big, strong oil and gas industry. You will see that oil and gas, they have perfect on the job training in terms of hard skill. But in terms of soft skill, it's very difficult. So that is the kind of feedback for industry. And this is the research shows that the amount of what you call it, the automations, and where the we call it the unique human skill. What a lot of people worry that your skill will be replaced by computer. Yes, true. There's a lot of skill can be replaced by computer or AI and IoTs, and you will see that the job that can be replaced is like memory skill. And who need the memory skill? A lot of them are lawyers. Most lawyers, they need a lot of memory because they do cases. And you can imagine that now, actually, if you have a case, you just look at the AI machine. I think they will tell you whether your case you can win, you can lose, because the computer will give you all the memory. So 54% actually will be replaced. Memory skill, quantitative skill, computer skill, and other skill. But then the other area of skill which is lacking is communication, listening, critical thinking, and the interpersonal. That skill, computer cannot replace. Until today, AI could not replace that part of it. AI don't have heart. AI maybe got the brain, but don't have the heart, so they cannot do what human can do. So I think this is also important that we as a successful trainer, we train people who have that computer could not do, instead of keep pushing on the what computer can do. So in the sense that we have to really help the individual to come out with a stronger skill that can beat the computer in terms of the soft skill. So you see, this is another research shows that almost 73% of the employer at 73 the employer grading how difficult to find somebody who had the good working values and the values in terms of work. 73% say very hard. 64%, 54% say they will find it difficult to find people to have a critical thinking, and 54% say communication. So you can imagine that here, interpersonal 55, another 55 of this the skill of this what you call it the employee who are listening skill. So you can imagine that almost half. Average is percenting down. So is that yes, it is needed, but why we cannot produce and what is the issues related? Because soft skill is so complicated, it's very hard to quantify. Hard skill very hard to quantify. So I keep searching for some articles, and I read some articles online, and I found that I grouped them together. So I found that the 8 top soft skill that is applied through over every industry. Either you as a teachers or you as an engineers, you as a doctors. It seems like these are the 8 top skills. They all group under one category. So the first skill that is actually keep mentioning is leadership skill. So you will see that a lot of us will think that leadership skill is only applied to certain group of people. Maybe himself we call leaders. But you can see that we don't need a lot of leaders, but we need good leadership skill. So leadership skill is something we are talking about management versus leadership, where the management is only looking at status quo, something that remain the same. You don't have to worry. So you can imagine that a lot of our colleagues or people who are in that industry, they think that by managing the company as what it is, then you'll be good enough. But the answer is that with the pandemic, with this kind of changes, the company cannot survive if you are just behave like a manager. So that's why the leadership skill comes in. It becomes very critical that we have to think how leadership could be developed. And how the leadership here mentioned is, we are looking at a leadership skill is somebody who bring a group of people who can move from A to B. It's not staying on A and you do well at A. That is not good enough as a people who are leadership skill. And also as a leader with leadership skill, you have to connect to other. You may not be the position as a leaders. Give example, people who are actually working, they don't need to be a supervisor, to be a penorogana, because he himself is he have good leadership quality people. He tends to be able to communicate, he able to coach, he able to teach, he can mentor, and at the same time he can motivate, and he will actually engage entire team. So this person may know. So we are talking about leaders without leadership. So the leadership is lacking, but we got too many leaders, but we don't have enough good leadership people. So that is where the challenge is, that today we only recognize leader who must have leadership skill. But the answer is not true, that every one of us should have the leadership skill, which means that we use leaders as a way to measure him leadership skill or leadership quality. That is the old school thought. The present school is talking everybody need to have a proper skill. So here we are. We look at one case study I have put out here for you, and you will see that you can understand that case. So I would like to invite one. You are English teacher, so I think you can read better than me. Sophia, you can see that any one of the teacher who can read this case is a very short case, and I hope that the group we will discuss whether this particular case, what happened to these particular leaders, and anything we can do to help him to solve his problem. So maybe we can start with Sophia. Sophia, you help to read the case to everybody.
All right.
Can you see the
okay. The case study is not really clear. It's like quite small. Can you make it bigger?
Okay. So all right, I will do that. Okay. No. Is it better now? No.
No, it's still small.
Okay. That is what I worry, that the screen is too small. So
hi, Cikgu Sophia. I'm sorry, doctor. Maybe Cikgu Jennifer or Cikgu Sophia can share. I shared to you already the slide just now.
All right. Okay.
Okay. Now is it clear?
All right. Okay.
Is it okay? Okay. Better? Yeah. All right. Okay. So the case study is about, is Johnson a good department managers?
All right. Okay. I will read the case study. Johnson is an engineer who has extensive experience in technology. In the technical department, every member of the staff thinks that his work is quite outstanding. Not long ago, the original department manager was transferred to another factory to be the technical director. The managing directors appointed Johnson as the new manager of the technical department. After Johnson took office, he was determined to do a good job in the technical department. He used to work under poor manager and knew what it was like. However, in the first month, everyone in the department learned about Johnson's leadership behavior. On the second day of office, one of the staff, Peter was 3 minutes late to come to the factory to broken down of his car. Johnson severely criticized him in public and said, the technical department does not need people who do not have the concept of time. In second week, another staff, Alan, was busy receiving foreign guests, and he was late for 1 day in submitting a proposal of technical improvement work. Johnson was furious again and openly stated that he would transfer Alan away if he failed the job again. When Johnson asked for a piece of technical information, Brandon worked overtime for 3 nights and got it done for him. Johnson didn't say a word of praise. At the monthly meeting, Johnson said that Brandon was not up to the job and suggested that Brandon be transferred to the other workshop. A year has passed. The factory managing directors discovered that there seemed to be a problem with the technical department. There were many absentees, many of them requested to be transferred, and many of the technical problems could not be handled effectively. The atmosphere of harmony and unity in the department was very low. The factory managing director decided to solve the problem of the technical department. Okay.
Okay, so there is a case. The case looks simple. It's kind of a one department issue. It's not the whole company. So now we would like to ask the question, what's wrong with Johnson management style? So the question here is asking, Johnson has been making as a department head because he was proven as a very successful technical person, as an engineer. He serviced the department, he do it well. And the company, because of and he was transferred to that to promote, actually as a promotion. But you know what he did to the individual employee cases? One of them is actually led to both because his car broke down and he was angry with him. The other person is actually, he actually had to work other job, but because he could not submit the proposal on time, and again, he get angry. And the other person, he asked something for him. He worked so hard, 3 days, 3 nights to get the thing done. But yet he said it is not up to the mark. So this is what Johnson, as a new manager of the department, and this is what he started with. Now I'd like to hear any one of you. You can put into the in your chat room what's wrong with him. What's wrong with him where he was a successful engineer and also contributed great deal in the department, but why he suddenly become manager? He could not behave like a manager. What's wrong with him? Any one of you who can share in the chat or who want to speak up? I'm listening. Okay, so I'm looking at, okay, Johnson lacked empathy. Cindy, thank you. Left soft skill, absolutely. No leadership skills, yes. Usara, you make it very clear that what's the difference between a leaders and leadership? So in this case, you can see very well that Johnson was made as a leader, correct? He was made as a leader. But is he ready to be a leader in terms of with quality, in terms of leadership skill? The answer is not. And what area of leadership skill he's lacking? It's a lot of other area. He's not sympathy, he doesn't have. So in the sense, Andrew, you're right. He has a hard skill, but lack of soft skill. However, leadership itself, we are in our real life, we always believe that somebody who put on a position, we think that he actually acquired that already. However, a lot of in industry, you will find that people making as a manager or as a leader, but the answer is that he still doesn't have that kind of quality that we expect him to have. And same thing is that you can have a leader, but you may not have a good quality leader where we have full leadership skills. So in this case, this is sad to say that Johnson, as well, he remained as an engineer rather than become a manager where he killed the whole department, right? So now the next question is, would you transfer him out? If you are the managing directors of that board of directors, would you transfer him or you think that he should be transferred? Anybody think that he should be transferred back to engineer, train him? Yeah, okay. Okay, Ming Hong, you have good idea. So you train him and maybe send him to take an MBA class or anything like that. Or he should be transferred, maybe transferred back to technical department, or you will do. All right. So this is where we are looking at it. Leaders and leadership skill is not the same thing. A lot of school teachers will think that the school leaders is only the principal, but actually it's not true, right? So in the sense that the principal only deal with maybe 30 teachers, but teachers dealing with 1,000 students. So who is the leaders? Actually, teachers are bigger leader than the principal. Principal only have 30 teachers to jaga, but then you have 1,000 students under 30 teachers. So indirectly, actually teachers, your leadership skill should be actually better than the principal. So otherwise, you think that how the school can be managed? Because the principal alone could not able to manage 1,000 people. It's impossible, right? So this is how leadership means important as a soft skill, and this is how we are actually here to identify that. Is the communication skill. I'm moving to communication. You see the slide? Yes. So under communication skill, a lot of us are learning that communication skill, and it is actually grouped under two. It's called verbal and non-verbal, right? Verbal and non-verbal. And in terms of verbal communication, it is a lot more referred to people who are able to give, to speak clearly, concisely, and people who can updates in a meeting. In a meeting, they are very willing to participate. And also people who write well and easy to understand his email or her reports. And these are the kind of verbal communication that we are looking at. And the other non-verbal communication, we are looking at individuals who have the good vibe, or we call it the eye contact, facial expression, body language, and tone. You will see that in every meeting you go. I'm a consultant to a number of companies, apart from as an educator in the college, because I have a lot of clients outside Malaysia. You will find that some people, when they get into the meeting rooms, some of them are very, very cheerful and very happy. We call it energy booster. Once you go to the meeting room, everybody will be happy with talking, chatting with him or her. But you see some people get to the meeting room straight away, everybody keep quiet. The answer is that you can see that your body language and other kind of you will be actually generate the kind of energy, whether people like you or not. So the other area of communication skill is that you are going to negotiate in public speaking. You speak to big crowd of people. One-to-one is another challenge. You speak to 100 people is a challenge. And then the other one is in terms of persuasion, or if you want to get some budget as a teacher, you want to get something from the principal, you have to talk to principal nicely in order to get some budget for your department, right? So another way is a questioning skill, which is going to be explained in the second section, that it is another challenge that people ask good questions and people who are able to generate enough questions to encourage other people to learn. So communication skill for the teachers to the student, even more important, right? Student copy you. If you have good communication skill, you find student will be able to do the same thing. They copy you. Here, they communicate with different generation, because now, as far as school concerned, you have principals sometimes will be 55 years old, and the teacher maybe 22 years old, like me. I'm 60 years old. I have teachers who are only 25, so we are talking about how many gap already, maybe from generation X to generation G already. So you can see that there are generation gaps in terms of communication in the real world. So here, the research shows that as a communicator, you as a manager, you see that you will actually choose to have different type of tone in terms of speaking, or you are actually having different approaches in terms of dealing with the different generation people. Here, it says that you can be very much in terms of engaging, very much in terms of prescribed. You are dealing with generation G people. Generation X people, it tends to be, you do a lot more approach. They like to listen to you because you are like mother. And generation X people could be people like me. We like to follow the leaders. We are actually very loyal to the leaders, and we hope that we will get enough instruction from the leaders. And you will see generation Y people, they will not like you to do too much, tell them what to do. They would like to be on their own, and you let them free, and then you give them a little bit of care. And then the other one, generation G, they actually do not want you to chase after them. They will prefer that you give them enough instruction, they will go their way. So you can imagine that the different generation, one generation is about 10. Generation X people could be 60 years old. You deal with generation G people who will be 35 years old. So in the sense that you will see that these are the work life in the organization. But however, in terms of tones, that the tones which remain below. I think sometimes I had to learn myself. Sometimes you get angry, you go up that high, you will become a dictator. Nobody likes this on the top level of in terms of getting different generation. Doesn't matter what generation. People don't like you to threaten them. People do not like you to scream at them. This is where the issue. And I personally experience a bit of, sometimes we just lose temper, but this is where you have to control. And the other area of these employees, they want feedback. Different type of feedback. If you are the manager, you give feedback. Let's say student now, you give feedback. And I think the teacher and student, the generation gap even bigger, right? So as your teacher getting, I don't know, inside the group here, you may be some people already 50, and you are talking to from three student which is only 16 to 15 years old. How do you manage that? So in the sense that this is where we are talking about. But the research shows that there is one critical thing here. You look at here in the job market, younger employee, they like more frequent feedback. And that is a very, very interesting thing. You look at the millennial people, they like to have monthly feedback. You can see that a lot of traditional organizations, we are full of Generation X people. We do a yearly, you know, the annual ballroom, annual dance, annual this, in order to help people in that once a year, we come and tell you, oh, we give you feedback once a year. But actually, as a younger generation coming to your organization, actually, they want monthly feedback. Even some of them, they want weekly feedback. The younger the employee, they want quicker feedback. You can imagine that annual feedback is no more a good practice anymore. So in the sense that, so traditionally we call performance appraisal, so we do yearly feedback. Actually, the challenge now is to give monthly feedback. For a lot of millennial people, they want monthly. So indirectly, I think as a teachers, I think we don't do year-end Hari Cemerlang. Maybe we have to do every month Hari Cemerlang already. I mean, this is what I'm thinking. Because I was invited to many annual Hari Cemerlang of the school. But it's good. But it's very interesting. Parents are there. But what about monthly? What about every semester? What about quarterly? So some kind of regular feedback. I think the younger people, they don't mind you telling them. They don't want you to gossip. They don't mind you to give them more feedback. On generational communication in terms of giving feedback to others. And number 3, I found that it is another area called interpersonal skill, or people call it people skill. So interpersonal skill is another skill where it's very critical to make yourself being accepted by another people. So here refer to good interpersonal skill people will be able to listen well. They normally shows a lot more positive attitude. And a Japanese entrepreneur called Inamori using this concept of interpersonal skill to help the company to grow until today. They are the biggest telecommunication company in Japan. He had this formula called success equal to ability time effort time attitude. That means that your success is how much you have ability, time your effort, time your attitude. In this formula, it shows that ability can be plus, effort can be plus, but attitude can be positive, negative. Your entire result is negative. So he make it so important that positive attitude become part and parcel of the corporate culture. So a good interpersonal people, he tends to be friendly, cordial, and rapport, empathy, and he has the certain kind of humor. And in terms of negotiation, he deal with difficult things. He will be assertive. He asks for what he demand, but he's not aggressively try to argue and then shouting. Yeah, and also when you have actually to be a disagreement with, there's no such thing. Everything is smooth sailing, right? You will have disagreement, but you have to be diplomat. And also you have to give and receiving criticism well. A lot of people can give criticism to other people. They are not prepared to receive criticism. And this is where interpersonal skill fail. So this is another area. And number 4 is the skill of work ethics and self-motivation. And this is quite critical to see that people who have good work ethic, they will actually take personal responsibility very well. They will take initiative and they show a lot of self-direction. Instead of waiting for people, looking at other people what they do, but they actually will do a lot more. For a lot of companies who actually employ our graduates, a lot of employer actually call to us for student. They didn't say about your CGPA very much. They will ask for recommendation. Whenever they ask, a lot of students using me as a reference, and employer will be looking at what? They're looking at whether your student does he wake up on time? Does he come to office on time or not? Does he bonding or not? Whether he can work in meeting deadlines or working. So this is somehow employer are looking at work ethic. I'm very sure as teachers, we do the same thing. We actually, and one of the area where work ethics, where your boss will measure you, is actually to a certain extent looking at time management. So on the right, it says how to improve work ethics. I think one area is you actually start early in the morning and try to get yourself ready for work. I think this is something where you shows that you are actually capable of managing yourself and you have a lot of self-motivation inside you. So that is where the soft skill, that it is actually where the employer looking at, or your colleagues are looking at as an example for you. So in the sense that we should actually set standard of excellence, and you actually, whatever you do, actually teaching as a more role model, and they will copy you, not from the word, not from the way you teach, it's the way you behave. So in the sense that work ethic is actually become part and parcel of education. In Chinese, we call it 言教不如身教. So in the sense that you talk is not as powerful as you act. So your acting and your personality in terms of your work ethic, it will show whether you are actually educating in a more which call it practical manners. And number 5 is the teamwork. The word teamwork, it covers a lot of different skills. It can mean the entire soft skill. But however, in teamwork here, it's specifically mentioned about collaborations and cooperation with individuals. And you are actually able to connect well with members on the team and with other stakeholders. Like in this case, like teachers, I think your teamwork is not just working with your colleagues. You are working with the parents. You're working the PIBG. You're actually working with the education department. So in the sense that the word teamwork, because your objective is the student, the future of the student. In college, it's the same thing. We as a private college, we are lecturers, our team, our admin staff, but we have to work with the Ministry of Higher Education. So in the sense that it actually Ministry of Higher Education or Ministry of Education are actually our compass, compass. We take that and we execute. So in the sense that it had to be work as a teamwork. If you take it as a one person, it become a controller, the other person become a kind of obedience. So you'll find that people will find it more difficult. So the teamwork concept, and I think this is somehow we will look at it, that how we can put together. So teamwork is actually a very important thing in the working environment, especially service industry like schools, college, and even other type of information. The other one is, we call it contribute to discussion. They are outside the personal expertise area. This is quite difficult for some of us. Some of us, let's say you are trained as a physicist, you're trained as a mathematician. You will find that when people talk about other subject area, you have, some of us are very, very much stubborn on our own professions, and we are not able to accept other people. We are not able to, even though you don't know anything, but the answer is that some of us, instead of try to learn, try to participate, we tend to try to listen ourselves and thinking that they got nothing to do with me. But in the real life today, you are English teacher, where you have conduct this seminar. So I think English teacher have certain kind of literature concept, and you may be more of a right brain people compared to these physicists who are chemical engineer graduate. You are more on the engineer side. So I'm a trained civil engineer, and I did my MBA. I did my doctorate in education. Actually, I have kind of when I did my doctorate education, actually from engineering background to that, lucky I got a master in business MBA, where I had transitioned between engineering to the management and at the same time to education. It was quite difficult. But however, in the sense that in the real life, every one of us, we have profession, we have some kind of a personal work that you do. But however, when you step out of your area, where can you another different department, a different type of expertise? That is something where teamwork comes in. So in the sense that as a teamwork is not working within your job scope, it's called teamwork, but it's actually working outside your scope, that will become a team. So I'm very sure every school have principals, and not every principal come with same qualifications, different principal. And I heard that Engineer Nasirin, you are actually English expertise, isn't it? So in the sense that I met some principal who are HR master in HR, some are from different. So in the sense that a person who can work outside his own profession with another group of people, that will be somehow you are able to learn and you're able to contribute. This is another challenge for teachers, work outside your area or expertise in order to get involved in another group of people, another society in your school. And that is something where I think you are actually practicing a better teamwork in terms of soft skills. And then number 6 is problem solving. Problem solving is something where everyday life we do. And problem can be big, can be small. And however, we will have 2 concepts of problem solving. One is called you facing the problem, or you run away from the problem. So the answer is that a lot of us is challenging ourselves when you have the problem. You actually try to face it, but how to face it and how to actually go into that. So here we have training. Train this problem solving is in the college environment. We actually taking problem solving become a much critical issues, because ours is more specialized. We teach accounting students, they have to do taxation, they have to do auditing, and these are actually solving client problems. So they cannot be saying that I don't want to solve the problem. Give example, we have a diploma in security and safety. Security, they are going to be police. We have a lot of graduate are police, and they have to be learning in the college how to do solve problems. This is what are the area of issues in terms of to be a policy. So here we are training a lot to do with critical thinking. Actually, a good problem solver generally are good critical thinker, and they have a lot of logical reasoning, and also a lot of them are actually they have a lot of choices on making decision, and the decisions are good, and then they don't just rushing into that problem solving without having enough analysis of the issue. So in the sense that problem solving is a critical thinking skill, and also questioning. Questioning process is another way of how to improve problem solving skill. I would like to test you and see how much your critical thinking. This is how we train our security student, our young future policemen. And I'm going to give you this case, and I want you to see how do you solve this particular. This is under the crime scene investigation, CSI, and I'd like you to have a look at this one. This is the diagram. It shows that somebody hanged, and this is a bedroom, and you have all the table, chairs, and all this, all the furniture in the room. But in this case, looking at this picture, you tell me whether this guy is murdered or he actually commits suicide. Give yourself half a minute, 1 minute, and you can put it on the chat room and see whether he is commit suicide or he has been murdered. You got my question? Sophia, you got a question clear? Yes? Okay, murder. Okay, let's say murder. Okay, Sylvain said murdered. Anybody else has been murdered? Yes, Caroline, all murdered. Okay, we have more answer than murder. Now the yes, okay, it's murdered. Now the challenge is, how do you know? What are the information that in the picture that show that he's murdered? What indication in the picture tells you it's murder? Anybody?
The tongkat,
Yes.
the tongkat.
Okay, what happened to the tongkat? What happened to the tongkat? Okay, Lina, he has clutches. Okay, what happened to the clutches? I mean, yeah, he had clutches. So what? He had clutches, but he cannot climb chair. Okay, okay, all right. But I mean, if the clutches is next to him, he definitely can, isn't it? So in the sense that the answer is, yes, the clutches is one indicator. The clutches is too far from him, right? He should be putting the clutches under the chair, then he climb out, right? Benedict, you said commit suicide. So far, we all talking about murder. Benedict will come back to you and see why you think that it's commit suicide, right? Clutcher is not next to the chair. Yeah, okay, you got it right. Okay, there are 2 cups on the table. What do you mean, Caroline? That is a clue. Yeah, clue number 2. There are 2 cups on the table. What does it mean? Benedict said the clutches not belong to him. Okay, all right. There's a good critical thinking. Let's talk about the cup now. The 2 cups. Why the 2 cups on the table? It means that there are 2 persons inside the room, right?
It's indicated
That means there are 2 persons inside the room.
someone else was with him.
You're right. But then that somebody could be the killer. But what do you think? That person or the other person? What another clue? There's one more clue to show that he is being murdered. The clutch is the indication number 1. 2 cups is indication number 2. The third indication in the room is, they will be difficult, That will be difficult. But try. Definitely somebody will find it. Red towel on the back. What happened to red towel? Somebody is taking the red towel, or maybe the picture they draw not so clear, but you can see that the room, how's the room set up? So you can see that the clock on the floor. What happened to the clock on the floor? What happened to the pepper on the table? Does it show that there is some kind of fighting in the room before the incidents? That the clock is on the floor is broken, and then the table, maybe the piece of paper, somebody write suicide notes. But the answer is the cup is 2 persons, and his clutches away from him. Is if he want to commit suicide, the clutches should be near to him, and then he hang himself. The clutches should be right underneath his leg. Benedict, you said the clutch doesn't belong to him. Maybe you have another theory why he commit suicide, but the answer is that but you have more evidence to show that it is not, he is being murdered. Okay. Answer is the clutch is 2 cups mean 2 persons. 1 clock means there is struggle inside the room. All right. So let's try another one, quick one of critical thinking. A man was found dead with the cassette recorder in one hand and a gun in the other. When the police came in, they immediately pressed the play button on the cassette. He said, "I have nothing else to live for. I can't go on." Then the sound of a gunshot. After listening to the cassette tape, the police knew that it was not a suicide. How did they know? Okay. Nazrin's fighting happened before someone wrote on. Okay, we are still on the case 1. Yeah, so sorry, I move on to case 2. Yes, you're right. Could be sign of struggle. Yes, red towel, and the whole room is in a mess. Correct, Caroline. You're right. Nazrin, fighting happened. Yeah, there is a fighting. There's a struggle. That's why it shows that there is some kind of there's some kind of fighting. I think the 2 cup itself is a bigger clue, 2 cup itself is the bigger clue. Then the next one is, all right. Okay, it's a robbery. Andrew, you go beyond that. So actually, the policeman may not be so smart enough to look at robbery. Maybe they're frank because they have drink first. Then only they start scrambling, and then he's having a clutch, and then after that he hang the guy. The guy who just put the clutch near to the cupboard. So there's a lot of possible consideration in this case. There's a critical thinking coming. So in the sense that there are a number of issues that you can look at the simple crime scene investigation. All right, let's look in the second case now. Why the police know that the guy who put the tape recorder and put the suicide note in the tape recorder, and the police came and played the tape recorder. He said that he's not suicide. He's actually being murdered. The cassette, okay, he cannot record it while he shot himself. I think, Law, you got it right. You got it right. If the man died, how can he press the recorder? You're right. The cassette recorder So I think okay, you guys have improved. So within 1 second, you learn the critical thinking already. Okay. Yeah, Andrew, you're right. Yeah. So it's a robbery case. So second case is not robbery. Second case is just basically, we don't know whether robbery or what. Basically, he is actually it was not a suicide because a suicide person could not press the button when he shot himself, right? So in the sense that the answer is, if the dead man had killed himself, he wouldn't have been able to press the reverse button on the cassette recorder. When the police press a button, it actually play. You got it? It play. There he says, I have nothing else to live for. I can't go on. And he cannot play the reset. He should be actually, the cassette should be run until the end. He cannot be reset. So that's why when police hear that, the button reverse. Actually, he can still press, even he shot himself. But the answer is that the cassette will keep moving on instead of the cassette going back, right? So this is how the critical thinking shows that, and he cannot rewind. He cannot rewind the cassette. That is what it means. Yeah, correct. All of you correct. He could not be he's a recording, but he cannot rewind. He had recorded, and then he shot himself, but when the police press it, it's start planning from beginning. So how can he play from beginning when he die, or he cannot do it? He cannot rewind. So actually, what police see, the cassette recorder is already being replayed. So in that, somebody asked him to record and then rewind it and show him, and then he actually the police called the tape recorder. It showed that it actually being rewind. But if he shot himself, how can he rewind? So somebody who actually murdered him, making a mistake by rewinding to show the policeman that he actually rewind after he shot himself, which is not possible, right? So critical thinking, yes, it is a challenge and it is everyday life, and we hope that we will increase. And that's why the problem-solving skill comes from how you actually looking at different angle, try to be open-minded and looking at that. Okay, the second last soft skill is called flexibility and adaptability. This is another issue that a lot of us are actually looking at job which is dealing with different type of tasks and different people. Some people are very good in handling multitasking. Not everyone. I have seen people who cannot do anything more, 2 jobs, 3 jobs at the same time. They become trouble already. So in real life, there are a lot of people who have skill of multitasking. That is a blessed person, but a lot of them are not. So they are not flexible. Some of them, not only that, they cannot handle multiple jobs. Some of them just mindset-wise, they cannot accept multiple thinking. So you will see that a lot of us, people are saying the longer you work in a job, the more difficult you are in terms of flexibility. I'm not sure whether you agree with that statement. The longer you work, the more inflexible you are. So in the sense that sometimes we may have to challenge ourselves. We may have to do a lot of, we call it self-awareness. You have to check yourself. Are you in that mood? And one way of checking yourself, there's a model we call Johari window. And if you go online, you get the Johari window. This is how Johari window, you can do a test online. I didn't do the test today. The Johari window, it gives you a certain kind of your own self. What it means that under Johari window, he say a lot of people having this kind of 4 different kind of window in our person mind. One of the window is called you know yourself. That means you are very aware about who you are. And you know, others also know who you are. That means that you know by other people. These are the best person that you know who am I, and people know who am I. So that is a kind of arena. We call it the open window. And you will find that the open window should be big. But however, some open window is limited, then you have others. So second one is called you know yourself, but people don't know you. You know yourself, people don't know you. Not known by others. So some of them, they only know who they are and then what they have behaved, but other people do not know who you are. So a lot of people may be in that kind of hidden mode. People, a lot of them could not talk, doesn't want to communicate. In the some students may be like that because they got family problem, they got home issues. You can imagine that a lot of them, they won't tell you. So in the sense that the sharing itself will be able to let other people know, then you open the window from here, open down to hidden. And the other one is that you're known to yourself, not known to yourself, but you know by others. Other people know who you are. This can be typically for this film star, the people who are well-known stars, you know, they don't know themselves, but they only know the fame. The fame know who they are, so they behave what the fame want them to behave. And you will see that these are people are quite pitiful. At the end of the day, they lost themselves because they don't know who they are, but they only want other people to know who they are. So the other one is that you don't know anything about yourself, nobody know about you. So you can imagine that the open arena, you should go beyond more of this. So Johari window is one way to help us to understand that why are we not flexible in some of the areas? Why some people are getting very stubborn, they are very inflexible, they just don't want to adapt, they don't want to listen, they are not open to suggestions. So this is where the flexibility is the issue of soft skill in the work industry. And people who are not flexible, they tend to respond very badly to the uncertainty. People who are flexible and adaptable, they tend to be able to respond to uncertainty better than others. And they are more open, they are able to be trainable and work well under deadlines and pressure. So in the sense that how flexibility comes in, how you can actually make sure that you are able to look at the Johari window, try to know yourself, try to make other people know you in the sense that you share with people. I have two cases in my daily life that I met two persons. One student is a pharmaceutical student, and not my college students, is my neighbors, and he was sent to India to study pharmaceutical. But when he go to India and study, after 1 year of study, he keep coming back, tell the mother, I'm actually a bit of stress because in India the pressure is very high because there is a social issue that he could not adapt because he's only a few, he's a Malaysian Chinese and he India to study. Then after 1.5 years, then he took a 1 semester leave and came back to the house, and his parents were thinking that you already 1.5 year, already halfway, and keep trying to ask him to go back again. But the first round he came back, he already feel very bad. He said, don't go back. But at the end, because of the family pressure, they go back again. And he went there and he actually cut his hand, he cut his hand and then he tried to commit suicide. But the whole family took him back again this is for care case. He came back. Then after stay at home for about 3 months, they think that he's okay, but eventually he hang himself in the house. This is a young man, when I know him like young babies, and he's very polite. He see people, he's cycling around the garden. He always say, uncle, auntie, very cheerful person. And I really cannot understand why and not like that. So the answer is, to me, I think that his arena area, the open area is getting very small. Then all the other blind spot, unknown, hidden, all getting into him. So he never talked to people. He never come out from the house. He didn't talk to anybody. And eventually he hang himself. This is about before pandemic case. Yeah. So these are the things that I want to know how we can help students, because some of the people are not flexible. When they are less flexible, you can look at people who have depression, people who are struggling to manage their human relation. They tend to be less flexibility. So teachers, we need to be open, even though you may face that student, actually some of them are not flexible. That shows that they are actually having certain kind of difficulty in terms of self-awareness. And the last one is conflict management. The last one, that all the soft skill in the work industry, in the workplace, is actually how to dealing with people and how to deal with difficult situations. We already think that you're dealing with people, there is no conflict, there is no tada masala, but actually not true. Yeah. So as long as, unless you become somebody who hide in the jungle without meeting people, but as long as you're in a social society, you face people, you have to see they are difficult. So in the sense that when you have difficult, how you deal with the difficulty in terms of, we call it conflict management. It is actually very important. And a lot of employers will be asking people when they're employed, I'm not sure, as a teacher, you may want one day become a boss. Can I ask you, if you have two candidates coming to you, one of them got a fresh graduate with a good degree, the other person had 3 years to 5 years working experience, and both of them applying for a sales job as a salesperson in your company. If they're equally the kind of age, they're almost the same, of course, the other one is about 3 or 5 years older, graduates, maybe 22 years old, the other one will be 27 years old. And you have a company, you employ them to do sales. Which one you prefer? A, qualified, university graduate, good degree. Second one, high school, but 5 years working experience in sales. Which one would you choose, A or B? Okay, Deborah, you take B. Anybody else? Okay, experience. So the B is experience, okay? So you take B lah. So you can imagine here, we are all teachers, you know. We are all teachers. This A is our product, but the B is a society product. But why we think that the employer to take B, not our A? So I always asking myself, whenever there's a question asking me, do you want people to take your fresh graduate or they want to take somebody on the street? So the answer is, we are not, actually our graduate are not lacking. Why employer are not looking at our students who are fresh graduates? Simple reason is that we call it the experience that count. How to measure experience? Law, what do you think? How to measure experience in terms of employer looking for experience with that 5 years work experience? What do you mean about experience? What employer looking at the word experience? Is it a number of sales in terms of his ability to close sales, or very kind and very patient person? Actually, the most difficulty why employer looking for the B candidates, to me, is not so much about number of years experience in doing sales. Actually, the true cases is that is the amount of handle crisis, customer disappointment. Yeah, right, Lo? It's actually the rejection. You see, the fresh graduate, he have all the knowledge to sell, but he have never see people rejecting you to sales, right? B, he may have done the sale for 5 years. Maybe he have not actually made a great sales, but because he have been rejected enough. So the question is that good salesman is a salesman who get rejected by customer. So conflict management is a lot more being rejected, and that where the amount of rejection you get until 5 years time, that salesman will have no issue of continue to sell any other thing. So the question is that the experience the employer looking for is actually the ability to manage conflict, the ability for people to handle difficult situations. Actually, that is what the experience count in terms of ability to manage difficult situations. And I'm very sure that the experience that you have is actually the amount of frustration you get in life. We call it the scar in your heart. When your heart no scar, that means you are not an experienced person, correct? A person who has struggled in life, there is a scar, there are multiple scars on your heart. That is where you are capable of managing even something way more critical than that. So conflict management is something where employer looking at. And another reason why they look for good conflict management skill people, normally a person with good conflict management skill people, they don't create conflict in the workplace where the organization will not have people coming giving trouble. So a lot of us, when you face conflict, you're looking at certain kind of solving problem. A lot of them will look at win-lose. Either I win or you lose. Or they're looking at my position, my idea is better than you or whatever. So there is a kind of immediate reaction for conflict. And the other one is we have how do we manage our conflict when there is a conflict. And give example that I'm not sure we are all teachers here. Can I ask all the teachers here, have you ever fight with other children when you're young? Have you started a fight with other children in school, in kindergarten, primary school, in your life? Yes, correct. Boon, yeah, do you agree? So yes, Boon, you have been fighting with people. Now I ask you, Boon, in this fighting, I mean real fight, no? I want to ask, you beat people or people beat you?
I beat people.
You very bad guy, huh? You bully people. Okay, so now the question is that fight, does it tell you anything in life after that fight? Would you see that when your next fight, would you think about that particular fight you have with that particular person?
So far as I know, after I fight,
yeah,
when they hurt my name, they know that I will fight with them. They will bully me again.
So you build your reputation already. Don't bully me. You know that I know the person not going to fight. I will fight. So the answer is that, but however, at your present time, you will remember that scenario. The question is that a conflict, an experience, a person who have, you know very well that is where you learn more than just being taught what to do. So that's why failure is not actually a bad thing. Yeah. So in the sense that, how do you handle that? Now you anybody want to fight with you, Boon, I'm very sure that you know very well and tell them that, hey, I still carry that gene in me, you know. You try to play with me, I will fight you. So the answer is that your gut, your feeling. I used to be representing Sarawak in Taekwondo. I'm actually silver medalist for Sarawak. And you know that in the real competition in the Taekwondo, it is a lot worry about, you know, hurting other people or being hurt. And I cannot play more than just because I worry I hurt people. And I also don't want people to hurt me. So you can see that I'm not a competitive person in terms of. That's why at the end I quit the team for Sarawak to represent to play in after 18 years old. I was there. Okay, so now how much your conflict management skill and what kind of person style you use. This is what we do. He said whenever you got conflict, there will be kind of a mindset a person have with two different dimensions. Dimension one is you are actually concerned for yourself about you are right, or you concern about others, he is right or she is right. So you are actually from very low concern about your own opinion to the very high opinion, to concern for others' opinion to very high concern for others' opinion. So within these two dimensions, you actually generated 5 different kind of behavior. And these 5 all within you. But however, you got one very dominant behavior. So if you are looking here, if you are high concern for self, you are actually very concerned for others, you become a very competitive and very dominating personality. Then you negotiate, you become very tough negotiator. If you are very concerned for others' opinion, you have less concern for yourself. You are a person who are very accommodating. You oblige. You try to please another people. Or you are looking at half, we call compromising. Or you are a person who doesn't want, whenever you got conflict, you don't want to look up at it, you don't want to meet it, you don't even want to talk about it. You avoid it. That is another personality. And the other one is you concern yourself, you also concern for others, you try to find a collaborative or integrative. We call it win-win situations. So this is how you behave. And you always move between concern for self or concern for others. And that two movement will give you certain kind of personality here. So before we close, we do one analysis for yourself. I have this conflict resolution style, and there are 15 questions. I want you to answer them, and it's on Likert scale of 1 to 5. 5 is very high, 1 is very low. And you answer each of the question, you just pick out using a piece of paper. Then you try to write down question 1, what is the number? Question 2, what is the score, right? So you do that. Then after that, I will help. Maybe some of you, I will help you to analyze and how to check your conflict style and how do you adjust yourself in case you are facing another conflict in the future. I do this as a consultant, and my doctorate is actually on conflict resolution style on my doctorate, which is a thesis. So I hope that I can help you on that. So let's do one of these questions, and you take a piece of paper, you do that. You got it? So question number 1. My colleagues and I discuss my problems to show the superiority of my opinion. So I actually tell them I'm right. So if you do that all the time, it's 5. If you seldom do that, it will be 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you pick one of them. Yep. Question number 2. 2 colleagues and I have to consult in order to find a compromise. That means 2 of you talking and then try to see that each one give half-half. Yep. Number 3, I try to meet the expectation of my colleagues. So whenever my colleagues ask for something, I never say no. I always help. Yeah, 1 to 5. Number 4, my colleagues and I study together so as to find a mutual acceptable solution. You do that? If yes, then you do 5. If you seldom you do that, you do 1. Yeah. Question number 5. On any issue, I always insist on my views. 1 to 5, you choose 1 to 5, which is 5 means yes, all the time you do that, or sometimes you maybe put 4 or 3. Yeah. I try to avoid argument and to keep the conflict to myself. That is number 6. You do that, you keep to your conflict, you don't want to argue, you don't want to open up, people get angry, you don't want to speak, you walk away, you know. Number 7, I always insist on my way of solving the problem. Number 8, I use the way of mutual agreement to obtain a compromise solution. Number 9, I exchange information with my colleagues and solve the problem together. 1 to 5. Number 10, for the difference between my colleagues and I am avoiding an open approach to discussion. 1 to 5. 11, I regularly agree to the view and demand of my colleagues. Number 12, I try to open up all the issues that concerns us in order to find the best solution. Number 13, in order to break the deadlock in the negotiation, I tend to adopt a compromise decision. Number 14, I often agree with the views of colleagues. And the last, in order to avoid the aggressive response of my colleagues, I tend to hide the disagreement in my heart. Okay, so you answer all the 15 questions, and you're going to group them together. Anybody need that questions again? Have you done no? Anybody need extra time to do that? Okay, so I assume that you have answered all of them already, right? So you do next slide here. Next slide here, you group them together. Question number 1, question number 5, question number 7. You're going to add out together, and that will be your competitive behavior. That will be a score. And the score maximum will be 15. Yeah? Kalau you lebih 15, that means your answer is wrong. Kalau lah korang lebih dari 3, that means you're wrong. So that means the maximum is 15, because 5, 5, 5 is 15. Yep. And 4, 9, 12, and 6, 10, 15. 3, 11, 14, 2, 8, 13. And you add up together, each one of them will have a score. So I give yourself another 2 minutes, then you can come out with the total score. And I want first person to report to me, and you give me the 5 score. Then I can do the analysis for you. And the rest, after pandemic, I come to see you one by one, then we will go through this score with you. Maybe after class, and do analysis for you. So who is the first person who can give me the score? That will tell how you could analyze yourself and how you could adjust yourself in order to become a good conflict management person. You need the question, 15 question again? Any one of you?
Yeah, Dr. He, maybe you can show the question again.
Question?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, question again.
You can see it, yeah.
All right. So let's look into the score again. So this is 157, 4, 9, 12, 6, 10, 15. 3, 11, 14. You add out the marks together. Numbers. Okay. Do I have a 14, 12, and 10, 10? Yeah. 10 and 10. Okay. All right. Can I have one more person? One more person before I do the analysis for you, and the rest you know. After you get the number, Sophia, have you done it? I want to analyze you, Sophia.
All right, yes.
You
I've
have the
done.
score?
Yes. Okay, I'll put my score now.
Okay, so give me the first number.
9, 9.
Yeah.
13.
All right. 3, 12, 12, 12, and 13. Okay. So Sophia is for Sophia is 9, 14, 9, accommodating is okay. Sophia is 9 and 13. All right. Okay. Okay. I got quite a good numbers. So now let me show you. Look at so let's look in these numbers. This is how you do that. I will put down there. Let's say I fill out the numbers for. Let's say I put 1, 12, 12, 13. So let's say I put this person 3, 12, and then I have 12, and I have 13, and I have 12. Right? This of low, yeah, low, let's see, yeah, low, let's see, this is your score. So you can see here, to do this, I suggest that what you do is that you join the numbers, you join this line. This is how you do. You see, this is supposed to be the highest score that you have. So as far as low concerned, you are a lot more of a person who are very much uncompromising. A lot more uncompromising. Whenever you go into conflict, you tend to look for good answer is I give half, you give half. So you are a compromising person. But however, you join the top 3 together. If I would join the top 3 together, so this is actually your flag. This is your flag, which is a lot more like a person who are actually moving into a concern for others. You also have another one, which is very seldom. This is another one of your behavior, which I don't see that very much in the person who are two different ones. But in this, whatever it is, you are actually more concerned for other people. So in this case, people that low, you are actually in your situation, in any conflict, you tend to give way faster than you actually asking for your needs and demand. So in the sense that your competing is only 3, is lowest among all. Indirectly in negotiation, Mr. Low, you are actually a lot more of a compromise, a lot giving way. You're giving way your position faster than you actually asking for your right. So to certain extent, Low, Cikgu Low, my suggestion for you is people's behavior, your skill, you should not. You avoid three things. Number one is that you should not go to other people's office to make negotiations. You are not going to negotiate because you already lose entire your position to negotiate. Two, you are not a good person in terms of verbal communication negotiation. You are not argumentative person. You cannot argue very much in verbally. So you should actually write more than talk. In the sense that you use email, you use WhatsApp, and then try to ask to share your opinion. Third, you should actually, if you are going for a meeting, you should actually stick to the agenda. You cannot change the agenda because once you change the agenda, you tend to give way. So my suggestion to you, go for meeting, you fix the agenda or you prepare the agenda for this discussion. So in this case, you are more or less able to present your opinion rather than you straight away got the conflict, you already give up already. So this one law, and you have other Sophia, you are like this one. You are here. You are this one. You don't have the others. You are like that. Sophia, you are like that. So Sophia, you come very much on integrating, and then you move to compromise. Then from compromise, moving on dominating, you move on here and here. So you tend to have this kind of diagram, right? You are like that. So in the sense that you are actually from integrating down to here, if you cannot, you move to dominating, you do. So question is that, Sophia, you like to be integrating, you cannot get a deal, you go for compromise. And after that, you start moving everywhere. So my suggestion for Sophia is, whenever you have negotiation conflict, suggestion to you is that you get a deal from here to here, if not move on. My suggestion to you is, you must know when to stop. That means you cannot continue to negotiate if you can't get the deal. And the more you push, the more you lose your focus of your negotiation. So when you're from indicating out to compromising, if you cannot do it, you should actually call for a temporary stop. If example, oh, I will talk to you tomorrow, and maybe we will take a break, or let's go for lunch, or maybe take a drink. So in the sense that a person who are in this kind of situation, you are always preferred to be win-win. If you cannot, you compromise. After that, you lose your focus already. So this is your software. So you make deal with people. You cannot make deal here. You reach here in the middle. Then you cannot move. You call. You stop, and then you move on next day to discuss. There are another type of people who are on this one absolutely dominating. Your flag is on top. These are the person who are very strong on self-concern, and this personality, you are very good negotiator. You're very vocal. You're capable of demanding what you want. So a person like this, you sometimes give people that you are a bit more aggressive. So suggestion is that you always try to let other people talk first. Then you absorb the opinion, then you speak. Will be better. You speak one pace lower, slower, then you'll be able to get what you want because you are actually to absorb other people's opinion. These are the person, just now mentioned law. You don't go to other people's office. You make sure that you keep to your agenda for discussion. This is another person who is straight line, and you are like this. These are the person from integration, cannot, you go to compromise, then after that, you run away already. So my suggestion, anybody with this line, you reach compromising, you cannot move on, you should call temporary stop. There are another people go like this, dominating, go to compromise, very seldom, but there are people who are like that. And you have another person is like this, which is like Sophia for integrating to dominating. If dominating cannot, you go 3 dimensions. You start running everywhere. Yeah. So in the sense that you become a lot more a 3-dimensional person. So my suggestion for Sophia is that you stop here. You cannot move on. You don't move on here. Then until you get the time to do that again. So there are other different type of type. So I hope that you'll be able to practice and check and see how is your personal this conflict style. Yeah. So there are 3 or 4 different types of style, and I hope that you'll be able to pick up that, and then you try to modify your. And people ask me after 10 years, would you change? My answer is action will not change. Your score will change. Let's say if you are very concerned for other people personality, you tend to be always try to give way first. And you find it sometimes you cannot control the situation. People who are dominating, normally they are the person who actually, they are always the one who first open the mouth and then start talking about what they need. So these are the individual behavior. So this is how conflict management could help, and I hope that it help you. All right, so there's so much for the first talk. There are 8 top soft skills, and I would like you to talk about
Dr. He, I'm sorry.
8. Yes, sir.
There is a question from Cikgu Voon here. So she asked you about.
Okay, Cikgu Voon.
Yeah.
Okay, Cikgu Voon, how about my score? Okay, Voon, your score is 11, 14, 10, 10, 12. So your score is like this. Yeah. You are very unique. So I thought after class I talk to you. So here you are 11. 11. Here 11. Yeah, you are 11. I will do a quick one for you. 11. Okay. And then the next one is 14. So this is 14. And then you have 10. You have 10. And you have another 10 here. And you have another 12 here, correct? This is yours, right, Mr. Boone? So in your case, your highest is here. So you are at 14, and your second score is 12. This is how you line go, and then your next one will be 11. Then you go to 14, yeah? So if you look at the flag, you are actually very much on from here, you are integrating. And if you can't, you actually to avoid. If you cannot, you will be dominant. So to a certain extent, actually your choices of decision making, you will be a lot more. Whenever I got conflict with people, I just make sure that we stay here. If I cannot stay here, I will not talk about it. I will just demand what I want to demand. So to a certain extent, you actually your negotiation power is very much on one outcomes only. So you are very much demanding for one outcome, and that outcome may not be the ideal outcome. So what can you do is that you will be moving on to different places. But however, if I were you, if you are moving to integrating down to dominating, whenever you look at it, you cannot settle the thing. You will tend to become pushing a lot. And sometimes you just don't want to even talk about it. So, and your case is that the scenario very important. You either negotiate on behalf of your job or negotiate on behalf of your personal. Give example, you go and buy things, people sell you barang, and you negotiate for prices. If that is a personal, you can decide whether you dominate, you just walk away. Or you are negotiating on behalf of school or the department, then you have to be careful that whether you are actually moving into here. Why avoiding is too high is no good. I will say all the other is fine with me, but avoiding should not go beyond 10. You tend to be looking at some of the cases that you do not want to talk about it. So that is give people a thing that after talking to you and then why suddenly you disappear, you don't want to talk about it. So you need to identify case by case when you are. So, but I don't know whether you may want to go back to check on your score again, whether your avoiding is so high or not. Your 6, 10, 15, you can add up together and see whether it is 12 or not. If it's very high, I will say for all the teachers, my personal experience on teachers, 60% of teachers are on this score. You are very much a concern for others. I think our behavior tends to be more compromising to others. So the question is that as a teacher, you negotiate with parents, you may want to put the thing in writing rather than talking about verbal talking. Verbal talking, you lose out to the parents. You may want to put in writing and then do a bit more writing. And at school, a teacher got this kind of personality, and you have this person should become the school spokesperson, and then maybe become the discipline master who are actually able to negotiate with students for any. So, but different personality, different behavior. So my advice to Mr. Boone is that stick to what you are. If you cannot do it, then I think you should hold on. You give yourself a break and come back again. And you don't push. Once you push, you either go to competitive, either you go to avoiding. So to a certain extent, anything wasting longer time for you to negotiate, you always tend out to be a little bit less, we call it, you may not have so much of confidence to make sure that you are able to do that. So I suggest to you is that, Mr. Boong, is that, yes, the case can be managed, fine. It cannot, then you move on. Yep. All right. So any others? So a quick assignment for you is which one you need to work on. So to me, Mr. Boong, you work on the avoiding skill. You ask yourself why you avoid. And for Mr. Low, I think your competitive is 73. You may ask yourself why is that so low? Is it that you're scared or competing because during younger time you have been fighting with people, you lose or whatever? And for Sophia, I think you are very balanced, but however, you need to know when to stop negotiating if you cannot move on to get the answers right. Yeah. So this is 3 of you, and thank you for sharing your secret with me. And then the rest, I'm open to future references. Just let me know. And I think you WhatsApp me, I can come back to you and I will give you a quick feedback. You got it? Okay. So which one you work on, you look at each one, and then which particular one you work on, you go back to look at the questionnaire, and there are 5 questions, 3 questions to help you to improve. Yep. And the last one is that these are the 8 top soft skills. You start out with LCIE-TPFC, so leadership communication. I like you to be creative, to see that you form sentences for yourself, a character that you can remember, that become you, and I want you to share with other teachers how you call it. You call it lexitic or pacific, whatever you call it. Any feedback, any suggestions, any requests? If not, we take about 2-minute break, have a cup of tea, then come back 2 minutes. Yeah? So 3:45, the next one we take about 15 minutes. I can cover the next topic. Yeah, that will be better. So we should finish by 4 o'clock. So let's take about 2-minute break. Sophia?
All right. Okay, Doctor.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, I'm back. So let's look in the next talk about questioning techniques. Yeah, questioning technique. I mentioned about communication is something that is very important. Conflict management also very important. Both are utilizing questioning process. Yeah, questioning actually can cover almost the entire soft skill. So questioning itself is almost everyone's nature. But however, over the years, we lose that skill. Yeah, we lose that skill. And this is the article that I will suggest that all teachers, you can download this. I got it on the internet. And this is a very good research done by this Karen, Dr. Lewis, and it's actually from University of Texas at Austin. And this is a very, very practical and actually I summarize it for you today, and I think that article will be the best for you to read through and very detailed, and I hope that you can learn from that. So go online, check it out, you will be able to see that. So this is what it says on the articles, and it's actually part and parcel of the research they conducted. It said that the important part of questioning is actually a central to learning. In order to measure how much a student learn is to actually to ask and answer question, right? So that's what exam for, this is what quiz for, and this is what in the classroom interaction between teachers and students. So asking question is actually to measure the learning. But however, the research showed that the teachers lastly have been asking the wrong questions. And the wrong question is actually you focus very much on specific information, and also we seldom try to give them question to promote learning, in the sense that that is where the lacking up of the questioning process in our education. And the other thing is important of questioning skill, and teachers, you use question effectively, student will discover that the question is very valuable learning tool and can organize the thinking to achieve certain. That means they are able to, when you ask questions, they will think. You give them information, then they will only do rote learning. So what are the basic principle of questioning? How we can actually ask good questions is, first of all, your questions must be open to all volunteers, non-volunteers. You know, in the classroom, you tend to ask questions. Some teacher will ask certain student instead of asking the question to general. So you should actually try to address the question to all, and the balance factor between thought-provoking question. You cannot be asking too much factor and not enough thought-provoking. You put too much of thought-provoking question, then they don't even able to catch up what is going on in the lessons. Ask about simple exact question, encourage longer response, you give time to them, and stimulate critical thinking, which you actually try to challenge them, and phrase question clearly, and also make question specific, short, and priority. This is what it suggests, that question should be set according to this principle. But how do you set it? And how good question to look like? So good question should be purposeful, clear, brief, natural, thought-provoking, limited in scope, adapted to the level of the class. So I think number 7 is very important. You have to look at different class of level. If from 2, from 1, from 3, from 4, from 5, then you have to look at different type of questions that you could use. And it says that the question should not be used for general teaching. Is number 1, try not to use yes and no questions too much, because that is where the thinking process is not strong, and the learner are not in terms of try to give you more thinking than what they actually say. The other one is elliptical, tagging, guessing, leading, and vague question. These are the question types should not be avoided. And what are the questions that you ask that you should actually give children a time to respond? Is actually, we call it the waiting time. Waiting time is actually very essential for asking question. If you ask good question, you ask question for students to think, you have to give them time to answer. And this is what happened now in most of the lecturer, including our college. We tend to ask question, and we are rushing through the question, and we try to answer the question ourselves. And I don't know why, and we have very little patience, or we worry that student cannot answer. We feel that if the student cannot answer the question, that means it shows that you are not teaching the class properly. So there is a problem. So the average teacher waiting time for answering question from the student, there's a research show, is only 1 second. And most teachers ask a question, after 1 second nobody answers, they will answer themselves already. So this is where the challenge is that. Then what is the research shows that we must change the wait time for questioning in terms of waiting for response. So that is where I learned today, and I'm very sure that, so how many seconds do you think that we should have extra? That is where the challenge between you and the student, how long you allow the question to be given out and the student respond to you. So this is where waiting time is very important when you ask question, to wait for student to answer you. So the amount of time that lapse between teachers asking a question and call, this is where you wait. Increase in time teacher time set an atmosphere more conducive to productive question on higher thinking levels. So sometimes teacher ask a question, let the children think about it, because you give them time to wait, it actually, they will have more thinking process, they organize better answers for you. So this is wait time. The research shows that wait time is too short in general. And what kind of wait time should be? The answer is 5 seconds or longer. So in the sense that most of the teachers, when you ask questions, we give too short time for students to respond. So the answer is that you should increase to 5 seconds or even longer and wait for students to respond. Yeah. Increase the waiting time for slow and shy students. So you should allow those slow learner and shy students to respond. Normally, they won't be respond in 1 second, even 5 seconds. So try to hold back, try to slow down, and eventually those people will participate. Third one is avoid asking questions. Include type of questions that you can call high, they call it cognitive skill. And I'm talking about taxonomy, Bloom taxonomy, and how do you use Bloom's taxonomy in order to ask a question that will reach the level of the cognitive skill. So here, I think you all know about Bloom. You know about Bloom's. Bloom's is like this. Bloom's is actually start from level 1 to level 6. Start from remembering all the way up to creating. So these are the 6 levels of questioning. And the questioning is started from structure to open. So in the sense that your question is very much on structured question, that is actually to test the knowledge. Compared to open learning question, there will be more of creation or simpler cognitive ability is actually at the knowledge level. Dominated discussion is that. So teacher, you are too dominating in discussion. You tend to be actually creating a level 1 to 3 level of maybe not even level 3, only level 1 and 2 in terms of if you are indirectly teacher, you talk too much, student actually only have level 1, level 2 knowledge. So level 3 or 4 and 5 or 5 and 6, you will be looking at more student involvement. So in the sense that the greater student involvement, you'll be actually looking at higher level of achievement in terms of learning, right? So Boone had changed that to creating instead of evaluating at the top. So these are the level of question, open or structure, you choose, and whether it is dominating discussion by you or more student involvement, that will show your level of question. And the next one is, I think this is where the research show very important. I want you to do your own analysis. It's called critique your questioning techniques. How much you critique your techniques. This is a table. So you put Bloom's taxonomy under remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, creating. And when you ask a question, you assess yourself, are you looking at response between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what level you are? So these are every question, especially the examination question, you are asking every question, you are asking yourself, are you expecting students to show application knowledge or more creative knowledge? So question like number 1, what hypothesis would you make is actually evaluating. How would you solve the problem? How do you solve it? That will be evaluating. What inference would you make? That is evaluating. What is the name of the capital of China? That will be remembering. This is a very low level. What will happen to a cake if it was cooked 5 minutes longer? So that is applying. What is the most significant seam in barrier? That will be analyzing. What would you find the area of a triangle having 2 sides that are equal? That will be understanding. So you can see here at the end of the day, you have 7 questions asked or 7 question quiz. And you are answering question number 1. Well, 1 question is remembering, 1 question understanding, 1 question is applying, 1 question is analyzing, another 3 questions is on the evaluation, and you have 0 question on creating. So the answer is that this total will tell you, are you having a question only answering 1 all the way remembering? If you're too much of that, that shows that your question in terms of analyze, in terms of question, in terms of Bloom taxonomy, you are too much geared to 1 corner. If you move too much onto the end of creating, evaluating, I'm very sure that very hard maybe your result will be very bad. The student will be not able to answer the question well because you are so much on this area. If you're so much on this area, how can you expect every student to answer the question, right? So if your question is so much on this area, maybe everybody score. You'll be very happy that everybody score in your class, but the answer is that, are you actually creating enough challenge for the student to learn? So this is how critique of questions and how lecturers, you use the different level of question and different type of question, you will be able to look at it by looking at the level of that. But for college, we are now challenged by the ministry to ask questions based on our learning outcome on the subjects. The learning outcome will have the Bloom taxonomy works that we had to apply. Identify means is a level of, identify is actually remembering. And then in terms of evaluating will be somewhere between here. And we are also asking questions about analyzing, so straight we will go. So now in our college exam, we are actually using this taxonomy very closely in terms of exam paper. But I don't know SPM exam. I don't know what is a requirement. Maybe some teacher you can share with me and tell us what is the best way to, what kind of expectation from the, just talk about SPM exam. Anybody? What kind of expectation from the ministry in terms of question process? Are we based on Bloom taxonomy? And what is the level of, are we expected to answer more questions on 1, 2, 3? Or is there any requirement for 4, 5, 6? Anybody?
Right. Okay. Anyone can share, but I think in my experience, for not for SPM because I'm not teaching SPM classes right now, but for a normal examination in school, we have that JSI where we have to do the question according to this questioning technique.
Oh, I see. Okay. So then your question, let's say for in-house question, do you have a panel to do this, which call it the peer review on a question?
Right. Normally, the teacher, they will discuss it within their in their group. Yeah. Within the panitia itself. Yeah.
Okay. So, but in terms of the within the classroom exam, the teachers have the freedom to set question according to, is there any external, there's no external examiner required in the school. And then what about the peer review, any assessor, internal assessor in the school?
Normally, the teacher will set the question and then they will send it to the ketua panitia and also the ketua bidang.
All right. So that means at least they are we call it internal assessor, where they will assess whether your question is actually too simple or question is actually too level in terms of too low level in terms of taxonomy. But here the critique here, the research shows that the critics say that the question must be balanced. The question must be balanced from level 1 to level 6. But the answer is that when you are dealing with different group of people, there is a danger that all of us lecture teachers tend to go into too much into the high level questions, and you lose the bread and butter in the junior level, where you actually try to impress the examiner or the others to see that my question is very tough. But then you are not actually generating enough low level we call bread butter memory questions. So in the sense that children may lost interest because your question is so sort of philosophical, and some of them just give up. So when the student give you blank paper, it means that he really could not absorb what the question is. So in the sense that the examination will tell whether the question is fair, question or not. So this is where questioning in terms of examinations, in terms of process of how you help people in terms of your exam. So this is on teaching questioning. But in real life, we call it action learning. There is a theory called action learning, which is the latest concept in terms of organization. We call it action learning. Action learning is a future management philosophy, where action learning is talking about asking questions that is helping people to develop leadership, and then and also in terms of helping people to understand conflict. So action learning is actually like brainstorming is also another method of teamwork. So action learning is one. So I might suggest that you go online, teachers go online, pick out some action learning theory, and that is the action learning is theory developed by a guy called Reginald Revens. His father is the investigator for Titanic, and Titanic concept, why Titanic failed, because nobody asked question about Titanic. When Titanic was built, nobody know why the Titanic, they thought it's unsinkable. Eventually, it sunk. So that shows that people don't ask question. People think that it's unsinkable. The answer is that then the Reginald father is an investigator. He go and ask, do you think the ship will sink? Ask 10 people, 9 people say, oh, ship will sink. So the answer is that because the ship is not sink, cannot sink, so they got not enough safety measure. So they're not enough what you call the safety gears. That's why everybody was fighting for the gears. So 4,000 people, 3,000 people died instead of 1,000 being rescued. But because they don't have enough, that 1,000 people, the third class, the lower class of passenger, they don't have safety gear. So you can imagine that question being not asked, and that's how the situation of that. So please go into the real practice about questioning process under action learning. If you need, then I can send you a quick action learning basic introduction, and later on I will email to you, and then teachers you can read it there. We are now in the management development, in organization development. There's a lot talking about action learning, and also in the research we call action research, where you do research through asking questions. So in the sense that this is something that in the practice. But today the questioning technique I was talking to you is more of a examination setting exam in the question, that where the most important thing is that you must do the audit. It's the audit that is harm. So now I actually after learning this, I'm actually doing my own audit on my this semester exam. So that is how you critique your question technique. And however, your question itself must make sure that you cover from the level 1 to level 6 in a very consistent manner, and then you don't actually over tune to too much on the knowledge. So in the sense of balance between the level 1 to level 6, that is where the challenge of the teachers. All right. So I think I have so much to share on much questioning, but I think you want to talk about questioning process in the work life. We may have to have another session to talk more about questioning, how to apply questioning process in terms of conflict management, and then how to handle the questioning process through problem solving and the leadership development. All right. So the assignment number 3 is that I hope that you will use this. Create one of your latest exam question or quiz, identify the strength and weaknesses of the question set, and discover the method of improvement. And or you go back, review your lecture notes and create many good questions, and then try to change the question. A good question should have purpose, clear, brief, natural, thought-provoking, limited in scope, and number 7, very important, adapted to the level of the class. So I think there is no ending, but the question is our behavior. And you will see that since young, the children grown up, there's already 2 objectives for the small kids. Or how many of you got children? You know that. We have all the children grown up with 2 objectives. Number 1 is to talk, number 2 to walk. So when they talk, the parent will say, oh, Uncle Gu ask him to talk. And then walking, ask him to walk. By the time the children can talk, then will say, Mommy, why? Then your mommy will say, shut up. Children don't ask so much. So you ask them to shut up. And then when you start walking already, they're running already, sit down. So our theory of a social teaching on children is shut up and sit down. When they go to kindergarten, they ask 2 languages, teacher will say, sit down and shut up. And go to primary school, also sit down and shut up. Even go to university, also sit down and shut up. So in the sense that our nature of asking questions is gone. So we hope that teachers, we have to be very inclusive. We need to ask questions. We should challenge our students to ask us questions. I've been teaching in China for 15 years. And when first 15 years I went to China, students not allowed to ask questions to professor. When they ask questions, you are very rude. Then I go there, I tell them, you have to ask me questions, otherwise I don't know you understand my lecture. No. He said, no, teacher, we are not allowed to ask professor questions. So you can imagine that this is how 15 years ago. Today, China, every student will challenge professor and they will kick you out of the class if your lecture is not good. They will ask you questions more than one. So 15 years, things change, even though earlier on they do like that. So Malaysia, I think we are more liberal. Actually, we should encourage more questioning. All right. Oh, that is 4 o'clock. We started at 4:06. I finished 2:06. We finished in 4:06. I think I have covered both. I hope that it meets your expectation. I hope that there will be sharing. And soft skill is forever thing to do. I hope that we work together, we learn together. For conflict management skill, any one of you interested to let me see your score, by all means, I will send you my PowerPoint, and then I have email there. I also go WhatsApp there. Please let me know. I will be very easy for me to help you to understand what your score is. Maybe you see your own score, you may not know, but I will be able to do that. So for the next 24 hours, I will receive a lot of calls and I will help you. Yep. So with that, I think thank you very much. Our principal, I think we have first started, and I'm very sure that you will not be the first. I will be more happy to come around and then to share more information. Encik Nasirin, thank you very much. And other organizer, thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
Right.
Very interesting.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Anthony, for the interesting and meaningful talk. Right. So now we come to the question and answer section. I will open the floor to questions. If you have any question, you may click the raise hand button, or you may type your question in the chat so I can read it for you.
Yes.
So while waiting for the teachers and participants to prepare the questions, with me here, I have one question from my team, right? So this is asked by my Ketua Bidang. So due to the COVID-19 pandemic, teachers need to conduct online classes. And how can teachers apply their soft skills during online class?
Thank you. I think one of these, you can apply both, either soft skill or the questioning. If I will have teachers I'm teaching online as well. I'm teaching doctorate and MBA classes, master classes. The answer is that I think the soft skill that we have in the online, because number one, students don't put on the video. You tak nampak they are happy, not happy. Sometimes in the classroom we know they're happy, not happy. Then we change your tone. Because online, tak boleh nampak dia muka, tak tahu dia happy, not happy. They are happy with your lecture or no, you don't know. So we can only assume that they are all listening. So that is number one, is that your soft skill is that you actually can look at the mirror. You should smile more often to yourself because you look like you're actually looking at yourself. So actually the soft skill is that you have to build out your own. You should feel like, you see, I have a camera, I have a mirror in front of me. So actually I'm talking to myself, I smile, I laugh. So in the sense that your facial expression, that means that your non-verbal communication actually more powerful than the verbal communication on the video. Because children will look at you, are you able to show some kind of facial expression that you are actually communicating effectively? If I apply another social soft skill that we learn, is actually another area is about, we talk about leadership. So actually in the online, leadership means what? Leadership means that you actually must organize a class in a much more difficult manner, because online teaching, the pressure is on the lecturer. The online teaching is pressure on lecturer, because lecturer had to prepare very well. Face-to-face, pressure is on the student. Teacher masuk saja, you ajar saja, then the student had to get worried. But online, the pressure is on teacher. That's why I tell you, there are more stress on teacher to deliver online classes. And you have to expect to have more organized than other times. So in the sense that your lecture preparation, and also in terms of make sure that the internet, because I think the problem is that some students don't have good internet. They lose this they lose the interest because they cannot follow you because the line no good. So what we need to do is that I think we have to be a little bit more of teamwork. The teamwork is you have to bundle between you and the students. And the student inside, you must actually allow the student to have their own learning group offline. And I'm very sure that is not done. A lot of times students are on their own and then they know much. We have to think about how to improve the teamwork among the learning, among themselves. And the other one is that I think in the online classes, we should ask more questions than give lecture. And because if you have 5 lectures going on satu hari, everybody lecturer talk, at the end of the day, nobody asking questions. So in the sense, I think questioning become more important online. And also questioning doesn't have to be on the class itself. You have to question should be sent out to them. We call it pre-class preparation. I think that is something that I would like to. And then that would be something I will suggest. So this is what we can do. So, but smile, look happy, look at the mirror, and you yourself must be look positive and encouraged and motivated. Otherwise, the student there cannot see you. You cannot see them. Then you know, and also I think dress up. Good facial. I mean, you must look like the RTM. You have to learn RTM. This facial, this itu makeup punya orang, how they look like, and they must be look presentable. I think that is important. And then lighting very important. I have seen some lecturers, the lighting is not good now. Even my one, I think the lighting now still not very good for me. Actually, lighting, I think Nasrin, your lighting very good. I can see your face, every line you can see. By myself, a bit darker. So actually, brightness is very important. Put the lampu in front of you. Make yourself very bright. I think it's okay to make it bright. Mean happy, huh? Betul tak? All right. So one question before we.
Okay, thank you, Doctor, for the answer. So any other questions from the teachers?
Okay, Lo, you say you have not changed since you visited us. Yeah, that's why your personality very hard to change. It's agree. As I mentioned in the beginning, soft skill is actually come with your person, a lot to do with your past experience, especially conflict resolution. The conflict management skill, a lot of them come from your family background. And I want to know how many of you are actually come from single parents family. If you're from single parent, you've grown up with conflict your style. So in the sense that yes, it impacts you. But however, to self-aware about macam mana saya nak, I know who am I, but I know how I can adapt to the situation. So that is how you go. So you see, like leadership, you could look into the situational leadership. If you can go into the book called Situational Leadership, that is a book that I think you can actually apply, that you actually modify your behavior when the situation change. So like student, you go to a class which is very naughty, you go to A class, then you don't have to worry about their behavior. You go to D class, then you know. So you actually tukar you punya style on A class and B class, not same style that you could actually achieve. So in the sense, yes, Lo, I think you have not changed, but however, I think your score have modified. But I can't remember your previous score. You could have shown me that I do that. So again, this is yes, psychologically in terms of organization behavior, most of the behavior remain the same. Like corporate culture, you can go one company forever, they are like that. So however, they can adapt and adjust. That's why flexibility coming in the sense that you must know who you are, then you adapt and flexible. That is where your success is in terms of soft skill. Yeah. So we cannot change ourselves, but I can modify. I can actually know how do I adapt to it. So that is how you are successful in terms of dealing with people, right? And Boon, I think Boon, your score is 11, 14, 12, and 10, right? 11, 14, yeah, 11, 14, 12, 10, 10. So in the sense that, yeah. So Boon, you are still a very win-win personality. You want both sides not to lose, not to win. So you are very, very strong in terms of make sure both persons are able to solve the issue together. But however, if you can't achieve that, you have the follow-up behavior that you tends to be tidak apa, you don't want to involve, and or you can become dominant. So to a certain extent, you are idealistic. You are very, very you like to see things perfectly done. But actually, in real life, sometimes you have to be different. So not everything, but you're avoiding. I don't know why. Last time I don't know what you score. Your score 12. It made me think that sometimes I think you give up already when you see the problem cannot be solved. So the answer is that I think keep working on the integrating style if you think that is where you want to achieve. So in the sense that try to analyze the problem before you head in the problem. That means don't go straight into the case and before you analyze the case. If a student come back to you that he have issues, we another student or problem. So don't try to test side straight away. Then you try to analyze, go around the problem before you head into it. So maybe that is a way that you could get into the problem in a much holistic manner instead of go directly. So that is one way. Hopefully it help you. Yeah.
Thanks for the advice.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Anthony He. All right. So if there's no any question, so before we end our seminar, I would like to invite Madam Valia Ananagreg, the SIAC Plus officer of PPD Miri, to give her closing speech. Madam Valia, your microphone is closed. Turn off. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. A very big thank you to our moderator, Cikgu Sofia. Okay. A very good afternoon to our pengetua, teachers, and especially our honorable speaker, Dr. Anthony He. Yeah. Okay, it is very privileged to hear very interesting and compelling sharing on soft skills, which is very crucial to be utilized in day-to-day life and in a working environment especially. So we also heard just now the topic on questioning technique on the importance and quality of it, especially for teachers dealing with new generation of students and our pupils nowadays. So once again, thank you, Dr. Anthony, for sharing very insightful presentation, which can really benefit both parties, teachers and students later on. Okay, so congratulations to SNK Luak for organizing very meaningful sessions like this. Okay, so that's all from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Madam Valia, for the speech. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, finally we have come to the end of our seminar. On behalf of the school and the English department, I would like to thank our speaker, invited guest, teacher, and all participants for being here with us today. We hope the seminar will be beneficial for everyone. Okay, so before everyone's logged out from this Google Meet, so let us turn on our camera and we will have a photo taking session.
Sure.
Right. Okay. So I will take screenshot now. Right?
Okay.
I count of 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Freestyle.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you. One more.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you, teachers, for your cooperation. So I end the seminar with Salam Menjulang Pendidikan Negeri Sarawak. Fly Kenyalang Fly High. Thank you and have a nice day.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sophia, I'll send you